Hey, I'm Otto, the CEO of Midpage, and I want to show how we are connecting your existing Claude or ChatGPT to a powerful legal research platform so that you can do legal research from within Claude. And you probably already heard that many big law firms have rolled out Claude to most of their attorneys. So Quinn Emanuel made some announcements there, and there's many others that we know of that are already doing this or are about to do it. And whether using Claude or ChatGPT here doesn't make a big difference. We believe that very soon every single big law firm is going to have a subscription to one of these tools rolled out fully. And so we're thinking about how can we make those tools work really well for lawyers. And instead of giving the lawyers 50 different legal tech tools, one for every task, it might make more sense to use this powerful ecosystem and integrate directly into ChatGPT. So as you probably know, in Claude, you can already use integrations to SharePoint, to your calendar. I actually use that all the time, and to iManage, to your files on your folders. And it's even very good at creating Word documents and editing them. So what we want to show is a couple of examples of different things that you can do once you connect the Midpage case law database with your Claude. And maybe just for context, Midpage is already being used by 300 law firms in the US, and we have coverage of all of US case law and statutes and regulations. So I would like to show 3 different examples. The first one is going to be a research question where we find some good cases. The second one is about taking a piece of text that somebody wrote within our firm and running a site check. And the third one would be about uploading a bunch of files and then having it create a whole draft that you can export to Word. I'm going to ask about non-competes. So I want to see find 5+ year non-competes and tell me when they are enforceable. Now, the interesting thing about this question is non-competes are usually much shorter than 5 years. So in order to find good cases here, it uses a search under the hood, and it will have to look at hundreds of results to actually find some that really match what I'm looking for. And if you were doing this in Lexis in the past, it would actually be quite a cumbersome task to go through each one. Now here, Midpage, I didn't even have to tell it to use Midpage. It just realizes this is a case law question, and so I'm going to use a Midpage connector. And you see here, it tells us what it's looking for. You can see it was using the Midpage search tool and then starts reading the opinions. And it will do this a couple times. It usually finds some good cases initially, and then reads some of the cases which mention other cases, and then it opens those up too and might start some follow-up searches from this. So this is really working across many steps like a litigator would. Now it came back with a couple of results, and we can take a look at what it found here. The good thing is whenever it returns results, it will give us the citations and it will give us links. So if I want to read this case here, which is a 46-year non-compete, which is extremely rare, then I would just open this link, and clicking on this brings it to the Midpage platform where you can read the full case and it is never hallucinated. And this is the great thing of having the links in here. I can just copy over this paragraph, send it to an email or put it in a Word document, and all the links and everything still works. And here it explains some scenarios where these long duration non-competes are enforceable, which is a great answer to my question. Now, let's jump to a different example. Here's the problem that many AI tools have is they create a lot of output or work product that is not always on the level that partners expect. And the good thing is there are many use cases where we can use AI to actually review text that was written by humans. So it's about creating better content, not about creating more content. And so if I just paste in a paragraph of text in here, and maybe I'm a partner and this is written by my associate, and I ask it to site check this. Now, a site check means you read the text and the cases mentioned carefully. You have to check whether they come out our way, whether the propositions stated in this paragraph are actually very accurate and are not misrepresenting the case, and a couple of things like that. And it's very common not only for associates to do this, but for associates to triple check everything and for partners to also then check what the associates did, just because accuracy here is really essential. However, things still slip through, so having Midpage analyze what we could have been missing here is helpful. So let's look at the result. We have many cases mentioned here, and it looks like one of them is wrong and actually says the opposite of what we said in our paragraph. And it even gives us the original quote and tells us what to change. So if I ask it fix our paragraph, it can just rewrite the whole thing in the correct way now. And here's our paragraph. Okay, so this time I want to upload a bunch of files, everything that I have in my folder here. And this includes an interview with my client. It includes a template for my draft. And I wanted to research what should we do in our situation here. So look at the full interview and find all the arguments of how we should move forward with this client, which involves, finding similar cases and what happened in other scenarios. And then it will create a new draft based on our template. So it has all of our existing styling information and it knows sort of what the structure of the document should be like because I told it to. And we can see it's starting to do some research and starting to read the files. And this is a really powerful version of drafting. I find the ability of Claude to draft documents and Word documents is actually better than what I've seen from the legal tech vendors so far. Now, maybe one thing to note is, again, we didn't have to tell it to use Midpage. Anybody that has the Midpage connector enabled, which your IT admins can do, anybody that does that gets all this case law functionality right out of the box. And here we see the answer with an explanation of what it found. But we also see it now created this new file. And this new file comes with citations to case law. I can even click on them, on these blue links, and open them. And when I open them, they open in the Midpage platform, where you can read the actual case. And it is never hallucinated.